My best friend married my ex-wife. Will this married man, who feels betrayed by those closest to him, be able to solve such a horrible situation? Find out on Coach Ben's Case by Case. So he's 37 years old. I have been with my wife, she's 26, for 5 years and married 4 years. We have 3 kids from her previous relationships, so she has what they call baggage. That's pretty nice of him to take on that responsibility. 2 boys and 1 girl between the ages of 5 and 8. Lots of responsibility. Hopefully they make it work. I really love her and her kids. That's fantastic. Things were perfect until 3 or 4 months ago. I've had 3 big promotions in 5 years. Sounds great. We bought a house last year. Even better. She stays home with the kids and is trying to make a social media career happen. I have always been on the fence about having kids, but she really wanted us to have one together, so I agreed to try to have my vasectomy reversed. Wow. She is 7 months pregnant now. We were so happy. Okay, so he says war. We have to find out why that's past tense. Sounds like something big happened. Like they're no longer happy, right? My ex-wife, who's 38, divorced me in 2019 and moved about 2 hours away. Our divorce was amicable. That means it was on good terms. But once it was finalized, I never heard from her again. That's great. Why would you want to hear from her again, right? Even when I would wish her well on birthdays and holidays. That's a big mistake. We'll talk about that at the very end of this case. That's a huge mistake. Keep that in mind. Okay, let's just go ahead. I even sent her a graduation gift. Oh boy. Okay, I hope you know where that is going. When I heard that she finished her PhD program. You shouldn't care about that, buddy. No wonder. Well, let's just go step by step, okay? Other people in our social circle, including my parents and sister-in-law, who sent her a gift. That's even worse. Received handwritten thank you cards. I didn't get so much as a text. My ex-wife is a really kind and thoughtful person, and the woman I knew would have at least sent a thank you text if her worst enemy sent her a gift. Even though we broke up, I didn't think she hated me. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm just going to have to just spill the beans right here, right now. I can't wait. I'm going to talk about it further at the end of the case, but you already messed up. Why are you communicating with your ex? It's done. Hence the label X. She's X'd out of your life. It's over. Eliminated. Excommunicado. It's over. Why are you in communication, and why is your family in communication with her? You should never remain friends with your ex. I can only imagine what kind of can of worms that this is going to open up. But let's go ahead and proceed, because that's the major mistake right off the bat. Impressive. We haven't even gotten deep into the case yet. That is a huge red alarm on your behalf. But we'll talk about that much later, okay? In more detail. Let's go ahead and proceed, shall we? Alright. My best friend, who's 35, and I were best friends since college. So he said again, war. There's that word again, war. Past tense. No longer best friends. I wonder why. Since college. He's the best person I know, and at least 10 people think he's their best friend. But he said that I was always his best friend. We kind of lost touch. Okay. We live 2 hours apart. That sounds familiar. He is a lawyer and teaches classes at a university, so he is really busy. I have a really busy career and a new wife. Well, good for you. And 3 kids. You've explained that. I didn't really realize that the texts between us were fewer and that the last time he finally replied to me was in late 2021. Okay, it's irrelevant the dates, just focus on the content, right? He also falls off the face of the earth when he gets with a new girl and then when things cool off. We all hear from him more. Okay. All right. So, touching on and off base with his best friend, but he said war, so that gives me an idea that they're no longer best friends. We have always been the kind of friends that could go on an extended period of time without communicating and then pick up right where we left off. I kept saying that I would eventually call him when things were less busy. My wife and I went to visit the city he and my ex-wife live in last summer for a week, and I tried calling him a couple of times to meet up, but he never answered. I was sad, but just figured he was busy with work or obsessed with a new girlfriend. That could be the case. I have other friends there, so I got to see them. Then I went to the city again by myself in October for a Halloween party. I figured he'd be at this party, and I was psyched that I'd get to see him then. Okay, let's see what happened, right? So building up more about his best friend, doesn't seem like he is right now. Let's see what happened. He was there, and when I went to say hi and hug him, he looked a little surprised and gave me a weak hug. So something's wrong. I told him that I was there during the summer and that I tried calling him so we could hang out. He just said, yeah, I was on my honeymoon that week. Sorry, I didn't get back to you. I was really shocked to hear that he got married and a little hurt that my best friend got married without me, even knowing he had a serious girlfriend, but still happy for him. Like I said, he was a great guy and girls love him. I spit out a rush of questions like, who is she? Where is she? What's her name? What's she like? Where did you meet her? How long have you been together? He paused for a moment and then just bluntly said, it's your ex-wife. Well, that's no laughing matter. It's just unbelievable. I guess that's why they're no longer best friends, hence the word were that he used prior. Well, that is quite a bomb. But, as I said in the beginning of this case, you're kind of at fault. Why are you trying to maintain communication with your ex? That's your fault. Regardless, she's free to go out with whoever. Now, it is messed up. I will give that. It's a very horrible situation. However, your best friend, no wonder he's trying to keep her out of your guy. Well, he kind of ghosted you, right? So let's go ahead and proceed, right? There's a lot to be said about that, but it's not a time to take sides. It's just a horrible situation between his best friend and him, but not the ex-wife. We'll keep going here. I can't describe how it felt to hear those two words come out of his mouth. I felt sick to my stomach and I immediately wanted to die. I have never felt like that before. I just said, what the hell? He told me that I didn't get to be mad because I broke her heart and they didn't start dating until 2 years after we got divorced, and that I chose to be with some waitress anyway. Wow, okay, that's an insult to his new wife. Some waitress. I drank the rest of the weekend because it was the only way I was able to sleep. Well, sounds to me like you're deeply emotionally involved in this. It's understandable, but it's bad for your health. Alcohol will never solve your problems. Let's find out why you're so emotionally invested in this situation, besides the betrayal part from your best friend. Former best friend. I feel betrayed by both of them. My best friend since I was 20 years old. They were never even friends. Right. Married my ex-wife. Okay. Behind my back, I was married to her for 6 years, and they were never even friends, and now they are in love with each other. I also found out that he talked trash about my current wife. Well, he just did. Some waitress. That's talking trash to your face. And me behind my back, and never liked her. Sounds like he doesn't like her. So, okay, it's time to excommunicate your best friend too. No longer your best friend. He already insulted your new wife. Some waitress and talking trash. Okay, it's over. It's done. He ghosted you. he said, you know what? I'm no longer your best friend. And he didn't have the courage to tell you that. But you know what? He's free to go out with whoever, and so is your ex. But I can understand the betrayal and hurt you feel from coming from your best friend. But let's go ahead and proceed, because it sounds like there's even more to this, which is probably far more important than what has happened so far. I went back home, and I know that I was distant with my wife and the kids because I was just hurting so much. After a couple of weeks, we had a big fight. See, now this is a problem. Now this is getting into dangerous territory, right? And she called me out on being distant and accused me of cheating. Well, you see, that's bad. She should not have done that. But she's probably wondering why you're even in communication with your ex. But let's go ahead and read the details. What went on between his new wife and him? I finally came clean and told her about my ex and my best friend, which she scoffed about and said she'd known about them for a long time now because of social media. Okay, so she didn't want to tell you because she probably knew how you would get, which shouldn't mean anything to you other than the news about your best friend, but she's trying to protect the relationship, right? Because she knew it was going to cause an argument. I'm not defending her because, well, let's see how everything unfolds here. I flew into a rage, well, because they're fighting, right? And we fought for hours. See, that's unacceptable. What are you guys doing fighting for hours? Over your ex and your best friend betraying you with your ex. I think the fight should have been over in 5 minutes and realized that both of you did wrong. She should have at least let you know. But you know what? Let's go ahead and proceed. She betrayed me by not telling me the entire time she knew. Did she really, though? I mean, you were going to find out anyways by communicating with your best friend, so they're kind of equally bad. The culpability is pretty much on everybody in this situation. She didn't say anything when I mentioned my best friend not returning my calls or messages. I didn't get to sleep before going to work, and after work, I just stayed with my parents for a few days. So like I said, you're really emotionally involved in this. That's kind of concerning. We'll go over that a little bit. When I finally went back home, we got into another fight. See, that's just making a bad situation worse. Another fight where she accused me of still being in love with my ex. We're going to talk about that soon. And said that I wouldn't care if I wasn't. Well, she isn't wrong there. Like I said, why are you so emotionally involved, right? I called her stupid. Oh, that's not a good move. Making a worse situation even worser. Wow. Okay, so there's a level of immaturity in this relationship, but they're a young relationship. A lot of kids involved, though, and said that she wouldn't understand because she doesn't have any friends. Well, that's not fair. She's going through something just like you're going through something, right? She was afraid that you'd find out and that you'd react just like this, which is why she didn't tell you. Not taking sides, but it's logical, right? I wouldn't care if my ex-wife got married to anyone else if it wasn't my best friend. It could be your best friend, yes, but your best friend is the one who's culpable, actually, the most in this case. It's your best friend who betrayed you. But they waited 2 years after you got divorced. And if they happen to they're already acquainted and they got together, well, he should have told you. Your best friend should have told you. Because that's what best friends are supposed to do, be honest with you. But how is he going to tell you, oh, by the way, it's your ex? That is messed up. But if they already had strong feelings with each other and it is what it is, that's the price of freedom. The price of freedom is he's free to go out with whoever, marry whoever he wants, go out with whoever he wants. And so is your ex. That's just the raw fact. It is messed up. I agree with you. You should be angry. But not at your new wife. And not at your ex. Who cares about your ex? It's about your best friend. That's the center of this all. Your best friend betrayed you. Get over it, right? I mean, I know it must hurt, but don't ruin your new relationship. We'll go over that soon. I don't see what is so hard to understand about that. We made up eventually, okay? But I feel sick to my stomach every day, and things aren't the same in our relationship. See, That's even worse than the betrayal of your best friend. Why are you ruining your current relationship over this? It sounds like what your new wife is saying is partially true or entirely true. Why does it mean that much to you, right? She should be supportive. That's where she goes wrong, your new wife. She's not being very supportive. She's being argumentative. So that's a lack of maturity on her end. I agree with you. You should be upset, but don't make a bad situation worse, right? I love my wife. But why did you call her stupid then? When you love somebody, you eliminate all these insults, this immaturity. If you get in a fight, fine. Focus on the point. Don't insult each other. But I've come to realize it's not the same way I loved my ex-wife. Oh my goodness gracious. Now isn't that a golden nugget? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? She should mean nothing to you. And you shouldn't be remembering the past by, I love my wife, but not the same as my ex. Then what? Are you in love more with your ex than your current wife? What happened to the new life that you chose to live? My wife doesn't love me the same way my ex-wife did either. Wow. That kind of leaves me speechless, because that just says it all right there. You clearly still have deep emotional affection for your ex-wife. And you know why? Because you didn't cut off the relationship, the communication. You maintain communication with your ex-wife, which was the biggest red flag in this whole... You see how you knock over a small piece, and it just continues with the domino effect, knocking over even bigger pieces. You caused all this. I don't like to blame the guy in this situation because he sounds so innocent, but he's not. It was going to happen one way or another because of your best friend. He's the main catalyst. But you ultimately, you kept the ends connected between your ex-wife and you and your family. You should have told your family, look, she's out of my life and she should be out of your guys' lives too if you guys love me as a family. But let's go ahead and finish this, shall we? So, not the same way that your ex-wife loves you. That's just so messed up. I have started to regret the things that led to our divorce. Wow, regret? Because we were really happy. You don't sound happy now, even before all this happened. Because if you were truly happy before all this happened, how could that happiness with your new wife just disappear after finding this out? It sounds like you were never happy with your new wife. This is all on you. This is the supreme level of immaturity. You should just cut off your best friend, and you should have cut off your ex-wife a long time ago, years ago. Until the moment she left me. I don't even have my best friend to call because he's too busy having sex with my ex. Wow. To care about me anymore. Who cares? That's obvious. Why even bother to explain it? You got a lot of problems. You got mental and emotional problems. And you know what? In the end, a real man accepts responsibility for his own actions. You should have apologized to your wife and said, you know what? This is a very bad situation. I think it's my fault for maintaining communication with my ex. I should have cut off all ties and communication with her. And I am upset with my best friend, though. So guess what, honey? He's no longer my best friend, okay? So don't say hi to him. Don't call him. Don't email him. Don't write to him in social media. Block him everywhere on social media. It's as easy as that. Why are you going to argue for hours? What else is there to talk about? Let's go ahead and finish this case. This guy, he's acting like he's the victim in all this. The only victim you are of betrayal of your best friend, but that's easy. I don't care if you were friends since you were younger. Let it go. Just like you couldn't let go of your ex. Let it go. It's a failure. It's a failed relationship, a failed friendship, and a failed marriage. And it sounds like you could have never moved on before all of this happened. You couldn't move on. Because if you were truly happy now in your new relationship, especially if you love the kids that she brought into the relationship, you would do it for the kids and for your new wife. Just forget about your ex. Forget about your best friend. Done. Easy done. Wipe your hands clean. Wipe your mind and heart clean as if they never existed. Why are you holding on to who cares what your ex does? It's called freedom. When you get divorced, she's free to go out with whoever, your best friend, anybody. And that's none of your business. Just like your new relationship is none of her business. Otherwise, you shouldn't have got divorced. And you're talking about regret? What kind of regret are you talking about? If you're happy and in love, as you say you're in love with your new wife, there should be zero regret and only anger towards your best friend, and just get rid of him too. Why do people have to make their lives so complicated when the solutions are so black and white simple? Most solutions are black and white. Now, for the gray areas, I get it. But he's extremely immature. His wife is a little immature. You shouldn't be arguing, but I kind of side more with the wife in this point. She didn't want to tell you because she probably suspected that you still have feelings for your ex, one way or another, which you're not sharing, but that's as clear as day. Everything feels empty and like a lie now. Why? If you said you're happily and married and in love with your new wife and the kids, now you're the one who's causing these worser emotions. A lot of friends agree that they both betrayed me. Who cares what your friends think? The only thing that shouldn't matter is your wife's thoughts and emotions and your thoughts and emotions. Fix it. But think I need to move on. Well, they're right about that. You should have moved on years ago because, once again, you caused all of this by maintaining communication with your ex. You brought this on yourself. Even my dad and brother told me to get over it. That's exactly what I'm telling you. That's wisdom in a bottle. You should drink it. Take a sip of that Kool-Aid because that's the truth Kool-Aid right there. You should have let go of it. And now it's time to let go of your quote-unquote former best friend. My sister-in-law yelled at me and my mom tries to comfort me, but I know she's overhearing about my problems. I have to pretend I'm okay, but I'm not. Well, you're the only one who can get out of that rut. That's a quicksand that you stepped in, but somebody's going to throw you a rope, right? No one gives a damn about mental health when it comes to men. That's not true. Look what I'm doing here. I help a lot of strangers online and offline, coaching them in their relationships, and even single people dealing with negative emotions every single day. What do you mean nobody cares? I care a ton about mental and emotional health. Even your spiritual health, which means your soul. You know, are you so happy that you can say that even your soul vibrates? If you believe in a soul, which I do. No. See, so now you're upset and you're making ridiculous, immature, false statements, you know, like such as a lot of men who unfortunately choose to be losers and say, all women are like that. There's no such thing as a great woman. I beg your pardon. They might be hard to find, just like a great man is hard to find. If you were born as a woman, and then you saw life as, oh, all the men are bad. It can go both ways, and it's both immature. The fact is, there are great men and there's great women. So I give a damn, a lot of people give a damn about your mental and emotional health and your success and your happiness. Take it or leave it. But in the end, you have to be the one to make that decision, to better yourself, to better the situation. We can guide you, family, friends, and myself. But it's up to you to make it happen. I brought up couples therapy to my wife, but she said that she thinks we are okay since we work through things. Yeah, see, she's trying to get over this nonsense. She knows that you still have feelings for your ex. She's trying to move on. Your family and your mom and dad, people are telling you to move on and you're not listening. You're like, oh, I feel empty and everything's a lie now. Why are you bringing that upon yourself? You're the only one saying that. What's the solution to a problem? To create more problems? Or to address the problem with solutions? Cut off ties with your best friend and forget about your ex forever. Because you can't just say, oh, I'm in love. I'm so in love with my new wife and the kids. No, you're not. You're the only one lying to yourself. Because if you were that happy and in love, you wouldn't feel this way. You would only speak solutions. Period. Okay? So, guess I have to pretend for the rest of my life now because divorce is not on the table. Are you serious? So it doesn't sound like you're in love with your new wife. How sad. You know what? This is going to be failure times 2. Why is divorce not on the table? I feel sorry for your new wife now. Because you don't want to fix the situation. You have regret in your heart. You're like, oh, I miss my ex-wife. That's pretty much what you're telling the whole world here. Why do you miss your ex? Because my new wife doesn't love me like my ex-wife. Are you serious? Talk about a toxic person right there. Toxic thoughts, toxic emotions, toxic actions. No solutions here. He's just complaining and whining and asking people to tell him what to do, and he's still not listening. I need advice on what to do. My goodness. What you should have done a long time ago, and what you still have to do now, you don't want to. You don't want to let go of the past. That's your problem. And how to get closure. That's your problem. You don't want closure. You say you want it, but you don't feel like it. You're stubborn in a very negative way. I am thinking of driving to their city. Why? Why? You're going to drive 2 hours to go see your ex and your best friend, your former best friend, to what? To fight with them too, just like you fought with your new wife? How smart is that on a scale from 1 to 10? I'd say 0. It's in the integers. That's a stupid idea. Calling your new wife stupid. The stupid should apply to you. That's a stupid move right there. I am thinking. So that's where your mind is at. And just show up as if you have a right to complain. And your best friend tried to respect you, even though I don't support your former best friend. He was trying to not say anything because he already knew how it was going to end. But he, like, once again, he has the freedom to go out with your ex-wife because she's excommunicado, right? No longer your current wife. You need to be happy and move on, but you can't. Now you're thinking about revenge. And there's a saying, an ancient saying, that if you want revenge, plan to dig 2 graves. In other words, it's not about death, but it's about failure. You're just going to make a failure an even worser failure. A bad situation worse. Is that too much to ask? Yes. You'll never get closure. Those two are free to do whatever they want. How do I get my wife to see that it is hard to trust her after knowing she kept a big secret from me for a long time? Well, she was trying to protect you and the relationship that you guys have. You should have understood that the moment you found out. You should have said, for example, oh, I'm sorry, honey. Now I know why you didn't want to tell me. Well, you know what? In a way, thanks for not telling me because this makes me so upset. But you know what? I have to deal with this, okay? Nothing on you for holding it. But now I understand why you held it from me. Now I have to go cancel my ex best friend. That's it. You take immediate action and you don't put the blame on other people. It was your fault for maintaining that communication with your ex-wife and not just taking charge of the situation and Xing out your best friend because you feel betrayed, as you should. Because that is kind of despicable, going out with your ex, but they're free to do so. But the thing I have the most problem with is that he didn't come to you first. He did wait 2 years after you guys got divorced, but who cares? Could have been 5 years, 10 years later. Your best friend's going to have to tell you sometime. So he didn't have the courage to talk to you, and you didn't have the courage to close the situation yourself. And now you're claiming that everybody's lying and you feel empty. What do you mean you feel empty? You have a beautiful new wife and beautiful kids, a beautiful new house, promotions. None of that makes you happy? How could you dare say you feel empty? Just say you feel betrayed and you know what? I took care of the situation. Back to square one, happy with the wife and kids. The new wife and kids. The new life that you chose to create. That's what I have to tell you. It is too much to ask for. Because you're behaving not like a child, but just like an immature male with no head. How do I get my wife? You don't get your wife to see. Hard to trust her. You've trusted her all the way up to this point. Now all of a sudden you're not going to trust your new wife? Is that so much of a reason to stop trusting your new wife who She knew you would get this way. That's why she didn't tell you. And it doesn't even matter if she told you anyway. You're going to have to go through the same thing, minus calling your new wife stupid and arguing for hours. Yeah, she could have saved all that, but you have to understand why she did it, right? You can forgive her. This is not an unforgivable act from your wife. You're really taking it way out of context. You're making a bad situation worse, right? A bigger situation than what it actually is. So once again, I won't repeat myself too many times, but a big secret, yeah, I already summed it up. So to sum it all up, the 3 people I love the most outside of the 3 people? You're still saying that you love your ex-wife? And wow, outside of my blood family ripped my heart out. This is so exaggerated that it's just borderline pathetic at this point. He won't stop ranting. And it's not even righteous ranting here. It's blaming everybody except himself. The victim mentality is horrendous. My wife knew about my best friend being in a relationship with my ex-wife and didn't tell me. You said that already. You're running around in circle like a dog chasing his tail, right? My best friend ghosted me. Well, you know what? He had a reason to do so. It was messed up, but just cancel your former best friend. The time he started dating my ex-wife is still friendly with my family. That's a huge problem. How dare your family not have any consideration for you? You divorced her years ago, and they're still in communication with her? Why? I think your family is culpable too, and mutual friends, but not me. Yeah, this is amazing. This is one of those cases where you reap what you sow. You get what you put out there. Let's go ahead and conclude this, shall we? Unbelievable. The past must always stay in the past. There's absolutely no good reason to maintain a friendship with an ex-partner. By never learning to completely let go of past failed relationships, you'll only end up jeopardizing your new relationship. True love requires 100% commitment and no less. The main flaw with this man blaming everybody except for himself is that, number 1, he maintained communication with his ex. That's your fault. Not your new wife's fault. Not even your best friend's fault. You chose to maintain communication with your ex. And your family, this is mistake number 2, was maintaining communication with your ex. Mistake number 3, getting in a fight with your new wife who you claim to love and be happy with. New house, promotions, love the kids. It doesn't sound like you're happy at all. How could you call her stupid? And how could you fight for hours over something that you should have handled way long before that marriage even started? Stop blaming everybody and accept responsibility for yourself. And that's all I have to say about this particular case. This has been Coach Ben's Case by Case. Much love, everybody.